Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the J Gemini. Tonight I'm excited to go and bring you a video that I'm really just stoked to be able to bring you. It's not too often that a new knife ends up going out and coming out with a sort of new thing that makes it unique. It's kind of one of those things that it's all been done before. So just going to jump right in. Today's going to be a first impression of this knife itself. Ended up selling some things, had a little bit of money, Kate saw it pop up, and because of how rare they are, I just scooped on it right away. So I'm so super stoked to be able to bring you a Demko AD20.5. First of all, looking at the box, looks great. You know, it doesn't look cheap at all. You have all sorts of fun little mantras and everything on it, and you have like sort of the engineering on the inside of how it works. Even right there, you can see there's a stop pin here. It sort of cam locks into place. Here's a stop pin right there. You get the point. Let's open her up. That's what we're mattering about. Really impressed with the packaging, although it's pretty straightforward. You get a little sticker. This one seems to be from Knife Joy. I bought this secondhand. It comes with this pouch with a nice little PVC style, is that what it is? PVC style that you can throw in a hat, which you probably will, or a bag. Honestly, pretty nice pouch. You actually have it where you can lock it in the inside. I've taken a peek at this just to be able to get the sort of bearings of it, but I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it, so you can get as much of a genuine interaction that you possibly could with this. So let's jump right in. Got a nice little bag with what's down here? Oh, that's one thing there on this knife. It's ambidextrous fully, but to make it so, you actually have a pocket clip for each side. So that's right in there. You could also have bits and cleaning supplies and really soft, nice case. But that's not really what we're into, although I appreciate the presentation. We're here for the knife itself. And here it is. I gotta say, when I hear that something is gonna go ahead and be made with like a fiberglass, FRN, or in this case, Grivery, you know, I immediately kind of either go one or two directions. I either think, think about a knife like the Rat 2, the Ontario, or Rat 1. Decent knife for the price, don't get me wrong, but the scales itself are just not, up to par. Or I think of something that is a little bit more high-tech, like your Benchmade Bug Out, but I think flexible. This definitely seems nice and high-tech, but before we get into that, let's follow the trend. We're going to take a look into some knives at a similar size. So this is the amazing USP Penguin. Can't wait to go ahead and bring your review on that guy, what I think about it. This is the Pair 3, which in many ways I was excited because I thought that these blades would actually end up kind of being complementary and similar to each other. No, it's fine. Okay. Kind of went up on the blade there, just making sure, but it actually caught the edge, so it didn't hit right into the edge of the blade. And then one of my all-time favorites, my Microtech Troodon. Not the combat Troodon, the regular one. So as you can see, this is square sort of in the middle between a 3-inch blade length here and sort of a little bit of a larger blade length here. So think Benchmade Bug Out, right? A little bit larger than a, subcompact, but not like a full, 3.5 or something like that. Now in thickness. Oh, one other thing I did want to compare, because a lot of people do have them in their kit, is just sort of your standard Leatherman. This is about the same size as the Leatherman Wave. It's a Leatherman Charge, but basically the same size. So we got that out of the way. One thing I did want to compare is thickness And oh my gosh, you're looking at about a delica thickness on this guy, which is just incredible for how much horsepower this thing has. Oof. All right, let's kind of try and control that. Blade thickness. Well, as you can see, this goes right at about 3 inches. Sorry, try and put that in the light. This goes right about 3 inches, and that's really strange. Must have hit something. Let's sort of zero that out again, stretch it all the way out. Yes, it says right about 3 inches, and as you can see, it's a little bit under, so about 3.15. But it's not really what I kept that out for, to actually go ahead and do the spine thickness. And as you can see, it says 0.13 or 3.5 millimeters. So you're going ahead and running with a sort of generalized decent thickness. It's not overly thick. A little thinner than the most stout part of the Para 2, or Para 3, sorry, and probably your Para 2. So it's definitely a thicker blade, but it's not like overly thick. It's a really good usable thickness. So overall, you're looking at a pretty thin, carryable size. Now, there's a lot to like about this blade so far. Seems to be pretty sharp out of the edge. It's already grabbing skin, or out of the box. And from what I was told by the guy I got it from, he basically said he didn't use it at all but to flick it. Just a little bit. And the texture on this is grippy. It also, if you can see, there's steel liners that have been cut out and lightened in there. So although it is gravelly, it is definitely reinforced. I'm really squeezing on this, and you can see there's barely any flex at all, especially, on this side. This is the side that's not even supported. On this side, you have a whole entire steel and this gravelly backspacer, which has this nice little texturing. It's not sharp at all, really well rounded off. I'm sure it, has a nominal amount of texture. Ergonomics, you're looking at things being really nice. You can choke up on the knife, which is a great blade shape. You have a flat, you have a belly, and sort of a raised area, kind of like a Tanto. I do like this shape, sort of similar on what you come with like a Rat 1, Rat 2, where it's sort of, is a drop point or clip point blade. You got these flats here, but even though that's the case, it seems to come down to a decent edge. Again, this is more of a first impression, so we're not necessarily doing any, grabbed a little bit of here, not necessarily doing paper cuts or anything so extreme like that. As far as the grips themselves, really great. I'm loving the attention to detail, and this is sort of the great thing about a high-end molding, is the fact that you get all these little details kind of like you would on a Spyderco, where it says AD20.5, which is really fun. You have these pivot collars that match the custom, where it says Wampin, PA, which is where the company is from. These are made, I believe, in Taiwan. Yeah. And it's AUS 10A, which is the higher end version of AUS 10, which is already an improved over AUS 8. So honestly, you're expecting cutting performance something around, N690, 154 cm, probably better than VG10. So it's not a bad steel, and that's why you're able to have, at the price range. The shark lock, let's kind of address the elephant in the room, right? Or shark in the room in this case. God, sorry, I have a child. These dad jokes just come out of me. But anyways, it is really easy to use. I thought, let me get used to how this works, and you pick it up right out of the box itself, and you get to go to work. I guess there's different ways you can actuate it, as you can see there. I'm just starting to toy around with it now. but this is just completely sawed, and how for ridiculously thin everything is to be this beefy. Also, when you sort of bear down on the knife from here, you're actually pushing into that lock even more. And then if you do need to do fine detail work, you're up on it and your hand's sort of still yet pushing into it. Now you would think that that is really uncomfortable, but really in no sort of way. Even if you hold it like this, maybe a little bit of a hot spot, but barely. And not at all here, not at all here. So honestly, I think it's a great position. There's great texturing here, and then this bigger jumping up here. It feels great. The blade finish is wonderful. Very similar to what comes on an Azula from Essie and their stainless steel knives. Just really, really nice. It's gonna be a nice working finish that ages well over time. Also, for the most part, there's a little bit of a smile here, but nothing that if you just used a stone, that wouldn't come off very quickly. And honestly, I've seen, almost $300 Riots that have the same sort of thing, Wii knives, everything like that. So I'm not really tripping about it too much. Also, all the edges are very nicely rounded. Nothing feels sharp. You can't really spidey flick out of this hole at all. It's kind of like you would think of like the tension from something like a triad lock is, where basically you overcome that sort of resistance, and because of the heft of the blade, which definitely feels, hefty, that's what's sort of swinging around everything. Anyways, I'm back just to kind of get my bearings. Finishing is good, and the lockup is solid. As I was trying to show, you really can't get your finger in there to spidey flick it or anything like that, but it is sort of something good to be able to grab onto, or you can sort of put your thumb in there and slow roll it. Again, the thumb stud's right there, but I'm all for multiple ways to open. Like I was saying, a lot like a lot of other knives of this style that end up using sort of a back. It's definitely better than an axis lock. I think it's a lot easier to use. It's funner. It's a natural motion. But kind of like a back lock, it has sort of these resistance points, and it sucks the knife right back in. So that would be something to be sort of aware of, because this is a heavy blade, and it's sort of having that capture of a back lock or a axis lock, but it's more rounded off than that. So it sucks in from about here, where I feel like on like a bug out or something, it catches right about here, and then you like really shake it to sort of overcome that. This sort of just rounds off and sucks right in, so it makes it funner to open and close, a little bit more natural. If you shake it one time, that's sort of the weight of the blade ends up really taking over. Now, there's a lot of things in here that feel very cold steel, and honestly, for me, there's nothing wrong with that. It is made in Taiwan, which is where cold steels are made, but I haven't seen anywhere confirmed and or denied that Demko is using the same factory. And let's be honest, it is, coming from where that is the place where Cold Steel ended up going ahead and making their knives. And again, you're seeing a lot of the similar, screw on one side and, flush on the other and things like that. So this could end up going ahead and being design language and that he would use on his own customs along with Cold Steel, or this could be coming from the factory that comes there. Overall, ergonomics, like I said, amazing. So far, the quality and control feels just top notch. This doesn't feel cheap at all. It feels like, hey, you have the benefit to have this great traction, and the easiest way to get that and cheapest way is to go ahead and do a sort of plastic FRN or Grivery. So I'm all for it. Overall, you get a decent sized lanyard hold. Not really my thing, but I do like that the lanyard hold is completely captured. If you put a lanyard in there, kind of like a Spyderco is, it's not in the blade path at all. It's completely separated from that, so you don't have to worry about it fraying or anything like that. And as you can see, The sound and the fidgetability, especially this going ahead and running on bearings, is just awesome. So don't want to cut this out too long. Again, this is more of a first impressions. I haven't even had enough time to really like, dive in and do anything like that, use it, carry it. But so far, I mean, it's a winning recipe size wise. One of my favorite to carry knives right there. It's thinner, like one of my favorite knives, the Delica and the Endura, but it has a fun and probably easier to use and stronger lock. So really, I mean, this is a winning recipe. It would be interesting to see, as my thoughts change, as you start to end up going ahead and using this, and also if other models come out in different colors and maybe even different materials and steels as things end up going ahead and getting more traction. Of course, I think Demko did a great deal with this. Instead of going ahead and just collaborating with someone else, he probably used his resources from Cold Steel and his connections that he had, as well as his experience there, and is making a knife under his own nameplate right from his website. And honestly, if you have a chance to pick one of these up, I highly suggest you do it. So anyways, I appreciate you taking time to go ahead and view this video. Hope to get out more content about knives like this, and this in particular as a follow-up. Of course, if you like the video, I know all that stuff out of the way, but if you could give it a like, it helps as well. Go ahead and subscribe, as we're so close to 600 subscribers, and hopefully by the end of the year we can be at 1,000. Also, going ahead and matching, sorry, whole underwater theme, right? SKX, by the way, wristwatch check, all that jazz. Other than that, that's really about it. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and there's so many other great creators. Like I always say, have a great rest of your day. Take care. Peace.